And the House of Representatives yesterday called on the federal government to auction all police barracks across the country to enhance their welfare. The Green Chamber also urged the Ministry of Interior and Ministry of Police Affairs to liaise with the Bureau of Public Enterprise, that's BPE, to immediately assess the value of all federal-owned barracks across the country and announce a public offering for same. The resolution of the House was sequel to the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance on the need to address the deplorable living conditions of officers of the Nigerian police force raised by Honorable Murphy Omori. Joining us now to give us more insight on this urge by the House of Representatives is Arise news analyst Dayo Sobowale. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale.
Good afternoon.
It's always a pleasure to have you with us. So let's just, from your perspective, do you think that this is the best approach when it comes to enhancing the welfare of officers?
Well, it's a step in the right direction because, it may look drastic, but it's because of, the seriousness with which they want the issue to be settled. You see, you need to go to the barracks. The conditions in which the police men are living is very, very poor. You see, in some instances, I've been to some barracks, you see a family of 2, 3 living, and there is a common passage through their bedroom. Constables, family people, and all that. In some places, there are no bathrooms. In some places, the rooms, I don't know when. You go to Obalende, they go to Surulere, all over, the condition is very, very poor. And you see, there was a Police Reform Act in 2020. That's what the distinguished legislator Murray is trying to say, that nothing has come out of that. So I think the way he has seen it, he's not afraid to throw away the baby with the bathwater, because it is a desperate situation. And they say desperate diseases require desperate cure. You see, I read a report on Metropolitan Police, UK, on housing. And you see, a law there in Parliament told them that, you see, if you want the police to be morally upright, you must make them live in living conditions that are not demoralizing. Because if they are not well housed, the temptation is there for them to seek succor from the police. And you say they are corrupt, there is bribery. This is a step in the right direction. How the auction will go is what I do not realize. Because if they must auction it, I hope it should not be police officers who will buy the houses and then they come back to come and rent it from them. But you see, there is no panacea, there is no one cure. What is important is accommodation must be made available, comfortable, decent accommodation must be made available for 2 categories of police. You have constables, you have bachelors, you have spinsters. You get me? They used to have some barracks for women. There is one at Obalende. So, if they insist on selling the current barracks, which are relics of colonialism, and which the way they were built, they were meant to be temporary accommodation for those who are brought in to suppress the local populace. But now they have expanded. They are degrading. Even the police stations are degrading. But the concept of auctioning is what I do not know how that will work out. Who will buy such derelict buildings? Except government itself provides temporary accommodation somewhere, like maybe like a hostel as a temporary accommodation, whilst they renovate and rehabilitate those buildings. Because if people buy them, of what use will they be? And where will be the authoritative accommodation for the policemen? Don't forget that the police has more young people who are trained for combat, who are trained for physical exercise, and they need to be well housed, well fed before they can discharge their duties and protect all of us. If the auction concept is what they have in mind, let them fine-tune it, let them sell it to government. Anything that will improve the living conditions of the police is welcome. Because it is when they have the morale, they should not live the demoralizing living conditions. When they have the wherewithal to live a healthy life, that will boost their morale to do their job diligently. That's my take for now.
All right. Well, over the years, about over 5 billion naira has been spent on attempting to renovate. Let me not say renovating, attempting to renovate to make the barracks livable.
Decent.
Decent, exactly. I think that's the right word. And nothing has really come out of that. And now we're saying, especially you look at the economic times that we're going through, not just in Nigeria, globally, and you say, let's move them into private residences when we see that there's a struggle to pay them salary wages that actually that correlate with the nature of their work. So are we not pushing more of a capitalist agenda within the police force itself, because you're taking people out of a paid accommodation, a free accommodation, so to speak, and making them now have to pay and bear that cost, as opposed to us focusing our energy on making sure that these barracks are brought up to a decent standard?
It's not a matter of capitalism. This is welfare now. Talking welfare now. And what is important is that the accommodation boosts the morale of the force and dignifies the law in the public eye. Because if people go to see policemen, you see, I read a report, you see, that they need accommodation for young constables, you get me, who carry arms, whereby they can sleep well, read, and they don't need to mix with society because of the nature of their job. You get me? So they must be comfortable wherever they are housed. That is the goal which the government should pursue. How they go about it, if they have to, you have housing estates. Look, let me give you in the US now, the policy of the Biden administration is that migrants can come in. You get me? That they give them citizenship. The Republicans don't want it. But in some cities, New York, some cities, they have converted hotels for accommodation, for even unregistered immigrants. So why our own policemen, why do they have to languish here? In the US, they have police unions that contest, endorse candidates for political offices. You get me? But you see, the sort of accommodation these legislators are fighting for is not for the officer cadre. The officer cadre have good housing allowances. You get me? Some of them are well-to-do, but they have housing allowances. I think the issue now is for the House of Representatives to liaise with the Police Service Commission. You see, the Police Service Commission is responsible for recruitment, promotion, and discipline. They should be interested in the welfare, the accommodation of the people they are recruiting, they are promoting, and deploying. So it's not a matter of auction alone. Like he has said, Interior Ministry, Police Affairs, Police Minister, and Bureau of Public Enterprises. Let them involve the Police Service Commission, because it is involved the recruitment, training, discipline, and promotion of the officer. They should be interested in the accommodation.
Mr. Sobowale, you touched on this lightly, but regarding the debates and calls for community-oriented policing strategies that's having officers actually live amongst the general population rather than in secluded barracks, do you think that this will actually significantly satisfy the calls and enhance when it comes to enhancing public safety, or you think it's a bad idea?
Well, you can only borrow from examples elsewhere. invariably, the Police Service Commission should be interested in the welfare, and welfare involves accommodation. It is that they have to pay rent, yes. If it is allowances, yes. But it must be agreed on. And I'm sure, the officer cadre have accommodation. But what is important is the constable, the young people, the spinsters, the bachelors, they carry arms. They are the people who go and enforce the law. They must find a way to find accommodation for them. It is not a matter for the house. The house, at the end of the day, will just make the law, like they did the Police Reform Act. But the implementation is therefore the police, Ministry of Police Matters, Ministry of Interior, and the Police Service Commission to provide accommodation on point of entry for recruits. After all, we have police colleges all over the place. But after the police college, you can't just throw them into the streets. And though the nature of the work they do is, they cannot just live anyhow amongst people. Because they will go to work and come back. Once people know this is a policeman, their life can be in danger. It is hazardous. You see, even the concept of colonialism, even in Britain, it is not true that they have the same problem. Because they say some of the accommodation, the metropolitan police constables are living in were built 1850, some after the Second World War, and have not been renovated. So we have estates, we have vast areas where government can donate land, you get me, for police and give them money to build. You get me? Although it will have to be all over the country, or even the state government, they should be interested in the welfare of their people. Because at the end of the day, the police should be our friend, not the other way around. Although when the police got frustrated sometimes, they say if you do not like the police, go and call the thug. So it should not lead, should not lead to that stage. Let us make the police our friend, provide accommodation for them. So what the House of Representatives is doing is a step in the right direction. Let them follow it through. And they have said 4 months or so. They gave a deadline that they should do to 4 months.
And since 2020, we've seen a concerted cry from the public, to encourage. There was regulating police brutality, but that was coupled with police welfare as well. People were saying, some of these things would not happen if our police were well supported. Do you think that we're moving in a positive direction with regards to prioritizing the welfare of our police?
Of course. An angry man who is not well quartered, who lives in dismal conditions, who has not slept well, you get me? It's likely to be a very irritated policeman, not likely to be patient with suspects, things like that. That is the essence of it. Don't bring in the MSAS something. That's a different, that police brutality, that one is a different concept. That is partly a fault of police seeing young men, you get me, that have made money from technology and so on, but who have different hairstyles, and they think they cannot have money, and then harassing them. Or people who are carrying phones, you need to go around. But that is not what we are discussing now. We are interested in their welfare, so they can work with the equanimity and not be bad-tempered or unnecessarily hostile to people they are supposed to protect. That should start from how they are housed, first and foremost.
Mr. Sobowale, beyond the housing that we're talking about, what else do you think needs to be focused on that would also enhance the morale or the prestige that's supposed to come with positions like this?
Yes. I think the housing is important. Training is important. And you see, there was a time the contributory pension scheme, they have it for the security forces, military and all that. They should have it for the police too. Although people were against it then. But But then that was during the military regime. You know, the military always try to put police at arm's length because a well-armed police force can prevent coups, can protect civilian elected leaders. So it was during that time that the standard of living of the police, got worse under military regime. But then, this is not a military regime. This is a representative democracy. That is why it is from the house, not police quarters. It's from the house that the legislators are saying that the police should be well quartered, well looked after, so they can protect all of us.
That's right, and it's something we can all get behind and support. We do hope that there'll be more progress in that. Mr. Sobowale, thank you very much.